Hey everyone, Jay here with thedoityourselfer.com. In this video I'm going to show you the table I made for my DeWalt 10-inch compound miter saw. I use two 2x4s and one 2x6. It breaks down to 6 feet for storage or transporting and costs around $15 to make. Now I don't have enough room in my workshop to build a big dedicated saw table for my miter saw, so I like to have something that can store weight easy, and I also like to have something that is portable. Without the proper support, it can be difficult, not to mention dangerous, making cuts in the longer pieces of lumber. Now there are a lot of saw tables you can buy, like the stand I use for my DeWalt 12-inch compound miter saw, the DW723. Now this is a great stand. It's very sturdy, easy to fold for storage and transporting. But the thing I'm not fond of with this style of stand is that it's designed to support your lumber in one spot. So if you need a cut, say 90 inches, and then say you need to make a cut at 70 inches. You need to move the support. That's why I like a stand with a solid support. So I can cut any size piece and always be supported. I always try to measure and cut on the left side of the saw, so I don't usually need a long support on the right side of the saw. But if you wanted to leave the supporting 2x6 a full 8 foot long and add one more 2x4 for the right side of the saw, you could have an 8 foot length on both sides of the blade. You can use this saw table on the ground or on any workbench or tabletop, like the one I made to sit over one sawhorse. But most of the time, I set it up on my sawhorses. You can clamp it in place, or I usually screw it directly to my sawhorses. I see a lot of people set their saw up outside or in the garage, but I like to have my saw close to what I'm working on. So if I'm working in a finished space, the first thing I do is lay down a tarp. Then I grab my small shop vac. I place a small piece of wood through the handle and let the shop vac hang on the back of the sawhorses. The hose on the shop vac is the same size as the dust collection port on the saw. So I fasten the shop vac hose to the saw. Then I grab my power strip and attach it to the stand. Making sure the switch is off. Then I plug the shop vac into the strip and turn the switch on the shop vac to its on position. Then I plug the saw into the power strip, then plug the power strip into the wall. Now when I turn the power strip on, the shop vac turns on and I have power to the saw when I squeeze the trigger. Once I'm done with the cut, I turn the power strip off. This is also a nice safety, so if anyone comes up to the saw, they can't just pull the trigger, and I will hear the shop vac start as someone else tries to use my saw. So using the tarp and the shop vac, I can set my saw up inside any finished space and cut without making a big mess. This saves me a lot of time. The next thing I like to do with my table is add a way to measure my cuts without using my tape measure every time. You'd be surprised at how much time can be wasted just by pulling your tape measure out and marking your board every time you need to make a cut. Not to mention, then you have to rely on your eye to make an exact cut. What I'm going to show you will not only save you time, but you will make exact cuts every time. First thing I do is lock my saw in the down position. Next, I place my tape measure against the blade and mark 12 inches on my support. Then I use this measure stick. It's a thin metal self-sticking tape measure. Now I don't put the tape on my saw, so I cut the tape measure at 10 inches. Then I peel a little of the backing and match the 12-inch mark I made on the support and the 12-inch line on the tape measure. Now before I stick the rest of the tape down, I double check my measurement. Then I peel and stick the rest of the tape. I double check all measurements one last time. So now say I want to cut a 16-inch board. I place it to the back of the saw and match the left end of the board to 16 inches and cut. A 16-inch piece without pulling out my tape measure. Now for the longer or repeat cuts, I make myself a stopping block. So let's say I need to cut a bunch of boards to 24 inches. I lay the stopping block over my support, slide it to the 24-inch line, and clamp it in place. Now I can cut as many pieces as I need without measuring and marking every piece. I can use my stopping block for any cut down to 3 inches long. I cut my stopping block at 20 inches. So if I need to make an 8-inch cut, I line the left side of the block up with the 28-inch line on the tape measure and clamp it. Then when I make my cut, I get an 8-inch piece. This is just a quick way to make cuts under the 10 inches that show on my support. Using the stop block, I can even make cuts in wider lumber because I can cut one side, turn it over, and the block holds the board exactly where I need to finish the cut. Perfect. Using my saw like this has saved me an enormous amount of time over the years. Now this may be a homemade saw table, but it always makes my projects turn out perfect. I've used my DeWalt 10-inch compound miter saw for over 15 years, and I've never had any problems with it. It's the saw I use the most. It's not that expensive, and it's lighter weight to carry around. If you would like to make this setup for yourself, check the links below for everything I use. And if you'd like a measured drawing of my stand, click the free bonus link below. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you as much as it has helped me. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post my next video.